So when you're a comedian making $600 for 5 shows in a weekend that you had to pay $740 for your ticket to get out to wherever you were, what is making it at that time? Because I think it's changed, and that's where I was trying to wonder what the time, like nowadays, there's different avenues since social media is out there, and you can use that avenue. YouTube, you can use that avenue. There's podcasts, you can use that. There's all these different avenues, but you go rewind 10 years, like there's none of that. You can't make a living from YouTube. Wasn't even a thing.
Yeah, there
social
was no
media
way.
was nothing. So you're just freaking comedy club to comedy club. What was quote making it back then?
Okay.
Did you see that as a possibility?
I got 3,000. I remember they gave me 3,000. Did the Comedy Central like 10 minutes or something, and they give you 3,000.
$3,000 for Comedy Central.
Yeah.
You do 10 minutes, they give you $3,000.
Yeah.
The big ass network, Comedy Central. That's like these fight organizations.
Oh,
bro. It's the exact same thing,
dude.
man. It's the exact same thing.
It was the ultimate fighting. It was it was comedy. It was like, obviously, it was just a different day. It was just a different Dana White, or it's just a different organization,
right.
But then also they had all the eyeballs. Then they had the eyeballs, and so so you got a little money, and then you start to get a little notoriety from the deal. From like you could show people, oh, I really am a comedian. That's the scariest part as a comedian, because you're a comedian, and then you could tell people you're a comedian, but it's a real weird thing to tell people until you have some proof that you are it, dude. Because unless not, you could be just a.
Yeah, I'm a comedian for all practical purposes, right? Well, I'm a comedian.
You could be a murderer.
A comedian.
Dude, they
probably
have
better suited to be a murderer than a comedian, but it's all good.
Dude, definitely, man. And I always loved peeping Toming, man. Since I was a kid, dude, I love peeping Toming.
That's really not one of the best things to talk about on the podcast if you want to maintain, yourself not being in prison.
Yeah, that's true. Look, I'm a recovering freaking PTer, baby, But that's one thing neat about recovery and being in the circles. I have friends that are flashers, dude. I have friends that have just gone and knocked on the devil's door, dude, and waited there till he opened it. You know what I'm saying, bro? And the devil works overtime, so rarely is he home.
He's 24/7 opening that door up.
So if you're milling out there just hanging on that freaking Velcro mat.
So Comedy Central,
you got that money,
thing, and now you're kind of. I mean, other comedians are looking at you,
yes.
but also other comedians. You're kind of like elevated, right?
Yeah, you started to get elevated.
You're sort of the man.
Yeah, a little bit. You get enough that boost that then it tells you, okay, this path is starting to choose you. I think there's a unique moment in different paths where you're putting yourself into the path, and then the path is also saying, hey, putting its hand out, son. Mm-hmm. And I do believe that for comedians, man, at a certain point, it kind of chooses you.
So once you do Comedy Central, when you're going to a comedy club, are you headlining now?
You have a credit.
Sometimes.
You're getting close, and you're starting to headline, and then you get like $1,500 a week. So that's when you can start to save a little money, and you're not selling tickets though. Most people are coming. There's a few people come to see you, maybe 10, 15 people, but also back then the clubs had all the email lists. They were the gatekeeper. So you don't have all that. You can start to put it together. We'd put the cards on the table, fill it out, and but then you're coming before you have to do that. And I did it all, man. Put the boxes with the cards.
Do you have a manager or whatever like that thing is?
Yeah, you have a manager that helps you through the agencies to get booked.
Got it.
But you don't have.
Are they taking their cut?
Yeah, they take their cut.
So you're getting $1,500 and they're taking
$150. Yeah,
$150.
And then the agent would take $150, and so then you down to $12 there. But yeah, you still grinding, and I still didn't have any other. In life, there's only so I find I'm either doing something that I want to be doing, or I'm attaching my life to other people and maybe starting a family. Kind of. There's not really a ton of different things to do, Really, I mean, you just. So I didn't have anything on that other side of the coin. I didn't have any place where I felt like I could make a commitment or start a family. So I'm like, well, this shoe just fits so well right now.
How many days a year are you touring at this time?
Oh, I did, man. I probably did 48 weeks a year. I toured hard, man. I toured hard, man. I really did. And here's the crazy thing. This is one thing I notice about a brain of somebody that has has maybe issues with alcoholism, stuff like that. My brain forgets that. My brain
forgets what?
Forgets all that I did all that work. So my brain every day has this weird governor in it that's like, man, you got to do something, man. You know, you haven't done anything. You know, I got this weird, and sometimes I don't know where some of that comes from, and those are things I still want to figure out in my life. You know, where does that come from? You know, some of those things. So those are things I love kind of thinking about and talking with people about is like, where do these weird, like, this weird legal system that I built into my soul, where does that all come from? And it's interesting. You can figure, some of the times you can figure some of that out by talking with other people about that sort of thing. Anyway.
What do you feel like the prosecution and the defense are arguing over with the legal system that's in your head?
But the prosecution is always just there was never like a base foundation that I'm okay. So when I don't have that, then anything else has a really good chance of infiltrating and getting really into me, because there never was this. Like, I had a friend one time who just texted me, he said, hey man, you're okay, you know, just out of the blue. And because he knows, we talked about stuff he's in recovery, and man, that shit just hit me. Like, never in my life had I just heard that, and it just came through in a certain way where I heard it. I was like, oh man, and I'm just like, so I think just when you don't have that foundation of that, anybody just telling you that, or the world, or just like you feeling it, you know, then sometimes you always will feel susceptible to any other. Well, then of course you have to build your own thing in your head that's like, you got to get going, you got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps. So you do that, but then after you doing well, even that thing's still going on. That's a childhood system you put in. That bitch is loose, dude, and that bitch is out there fucking partying, got tits, dude. You know what I'm saying? It's turning up, and it's fucking, dude, and it just doesn't. There's no control. But that thing has been with you for so long that it's hard to get new systems in place to stop those survival things. Because something had to be in my head to tell me to keep going, you know. But as you get older, it's just still running on the same childhood system, the same original DOS or whatever, Microsoft DOS. Mm-hmm. So,
did you ever have a point where you're like in freaking whatever, upstate New York, you just performed in front of 7 people that were talking while you were up on stage, and then you had to pay them money, and you were like, you know what, dude, I'm going to get a job at Mickey D's. Did you have that anytime?
Dude,
or did you have
I
it
worked
over
at
and
a
over?
I got a job at doing tacos, selling Mexican food to people. Mm-hmm. And I'd sold all kind of food to people over a restaurant and stuff like that. I sold Mexican food to people when I was younger too.
But did you ever have a point where you were like,
yeah, I gave up at that point. There was a point where I gave up.
Oh, you gave up on comedy at some point?
Yeah, I had this girl. I was in this long-term relationship, and I went back to New Orleans and worked at a bar, and we was selling Mexican food to people above board. It was legal shit. Mm-hmm. And they had a margarita machine in there, and I was working that bad boy, you know, and just doing what I could. And then some guy came in who worked next door, and he said like one thing to me, and it just set me off.
Like, dude, treated you like a chump or something?
Yeah, treated me like I was somebody that didn't. It was like some rich dude, some rich, you know, second-hand generation rich or third-hand generation rich, you know. Somebody, look, I'll say this, somebody in their family probably had some cotton on them, okay? And I was more of a polyester bad boy, you know what I'm saying? I was one of those fucking, you know what I'm saying? Those synthetic fabrics, dog, okay? Racism free, daddy, okay? So this dude, he said something, yeah, and it just, and his family partially owned the place. It was a business next door. They sold wine. like Gary V or whatever that guy's name is, Jerry V, telling people to fucking sell their home and sleep in their yard. You know what I'm saying? And that dude was raised on a damn wine farm or something, dude. He's at there fucking, you know what I'm saying, dude, hiding grapes in his ass at night, freezing grapes and fucking hiding them in his ass. And he's telling people how to struggle. Dude, that guy's out of his mind. He's like, oh, damn, dude. Oh, you still have silverware in your house? Fucking sell it. And then he shows up and he'll like hug the dude. The guy can't even, he has no way to get food in his mouth, you know? The guy's fucking just knuckling through some chowder, knuckling through some bouillabaisse. And he's like, no worries, man. You made $76 last night. And he hugs him. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what the fuck? And then he drives off and the family's just standing there in a park. Another winner. That guy's out of his fucking mind, dude. And he hugs, oh, you sold 2 extra Christmas sweaters you didn't need from last year, and they're crying together.
Dude.
Like, what is going on, dude?